Before I was a published author, I felt like I was always on the internet Googling things about writing. How many words should my novel be? What contests could I enter? What classes should I take? What was the best writing software? Where was the best place to find an agent? My questions were endless, and there are so many sites out there offering advice and services to writers. Today, I want to share with you my 10 favorite sites for writers and aspiring authors and why I love them so much. Let's go. The first website is Reedsy. Google pretty much anything about writing and you're likely to pull up Reedsy, but there's a reason for that. It's good stuff. My personal favorite thing about Reedsy is their extensive database of literary agents. It's really good. If finding a literary agent is tough, which it is, just finding agents even to approach is where it starts getting hard. And I love what Reedsy has done. They have a list of almost 700 agents seeking submissions, and you can filter by the genre of your book. It's great. So go check it out and check out the other stuff they have there too. The second website is LitHub, also known as Literary Hub. LitHub is where I like to go to read about writing. Writers write about writing there. There are sections on craft and criticism, so you can learn from other writers. Reading essays about writing by writers is one way to feel connected to the community of authors out there, even if you don't personally know them. And often LitHub will publish essays by writers who have books coming out about the process of writing their books. I just took a glance a second ago at what's up there right now, and here are a few headlines I saw. Writerly perseverance and knowing when to give up. Another one was how one of America's most influential Black writers befriended a pioneering American aviator. And a third was how to write a memoir about family tragedy that people want to read. See, it's great. I actually almost stopped getting ready to record this because I got distracted by wanting to read these things. And finally, they have a really great newsletter every week where they email you a list of things they've published during the week and a short description of those things, so you can click on whatever interests you most. The third website is Funds for Writers, as in Funds. Remember when I said that I used to Google to try to find contests to enter and places to submit things? Well, I wish I'd known about this site, Funds for Writers. It was started by mystery novelist C. Hope Clark, and it aggregates grants, contests, and monetary prizes, and submission opportunities. All the content is free, but if you want a little extra, they also have a paid newsletter option called Total Funds for Writers that gives subscribers bonus content and helps keep the main site free for everybody else. So you can check that out too. Speaking of opportunities for writers, I also love the site Poets and Writers. Poets and Writers is just another great online resource. First, they have an extensive blog that connects writers with publishing opportunities, writing contests, literary magazines, small presses, literary agents. In fact, I actually found my agent through this site. She was interviewed in one of their interview series as a new agent looking for new clients back when I was looking for an agent. And I loved her interview, so I queried her, and the rest is history. I have a particular soft spot for poets and writers for that reason. Next website is The Rumpus. You've probably heard of Cheryl Strayed, the author of Wild. If you haven't heard of Cheryl, maybe you've heard of Reese Witherspoon, because Reese starred in the movie based on the book that Cheryl wrote. Well, before Cheryl Strayed was a famous memoirist for writing Wild, she wrote an advice column called Dear Sugar, which was phenomenal and became very popular. That advice column was for this site, The Rumpus. That column ultimately became another book by Cheryl in which she compiled her letters. It's called Tiny Beautiful Things, and I highly recommend it. But all of this is to say, The Rumpus is great. It often has author interviews that I just love, and right now they also have 2 book clubs, one for prose and one for poetry. They'll mail you the book and then invite you to a discussion with the book's author. It's just very cool, and in general, it's a great site to check out. Website number 6 is The Marginalian. Whenever I want the equivalent of just really rich, delicious candy for my brain, I go to The Marginalian, formerly known as Brain Pickings. This place, and yes, I just called it a place, not a site, because it's hard to describe. It's sort of like walking into a museum that has an exhibit you didn't expect and that you immediately know you're never gonna forget. You feel smarter just being there for 5 seconds, but you also feel inspired and grateful. I know this sounds vague, but just trust me, check it out and you'll get what I'm talking about. It's wonderful for inspiration. I have 4 more sites to share with you, but first, I just want to invite you to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. The link is down below this video. It's just 2 questions. It'll take under 5 minutes. If you're writing a book, you'll definitely want to check it out. Okay, back to the video. All right, website number 7 is Electric Literature. Electric Literature is another great one. It's kind of similar to LitHub and The Rumpus. It has great writing about writing on it. You'll also find excerpts from upcoming books. You can read short stories, flash fiction, and cultural criticism. Like The Rumpus, they have some really fascinating author interviews, authors who have books coming out especially. They have tons of reading lists. You'll never not know what to read again. And they also have 2 in-house literary magazines. I also love that every few months, the editors at Electric Lit host a submissions roulette where people send in the first few pages of their book or short story or essay, and the editors respond to it in real time live, sharing their immediate thoughts and reactions. It's really fun and illuminating in terms of getting into the heads of editors when they're receiving your work on submission. I really recommend going to one of these submission roulettes if you see one coming up. Website number 8 is the Atticus Review. The Atticus Review is probably my favorite online literary journal. Their motto is unashamed, unadored, and unafraid. They also have a great newsletter that their editors rotate writing that's always about writing. It's really worth subscribing to. It goes on Saturdays, at least as of now when I'm recording this, and it's always really inspiring. Website number 9 might be a surprise, but it's KDP for self-publishing. This is just for people who are self-publishing, but I wanted to throw it in here. If you're going to self-publish, which admittedly I haven't, my publisher publishes my books, I think KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, owned by Amazon, is the way to go. I know Amazon is a dirty word, but I'm not gonna lie. If I were going to self-publish after speaking with a number of authors who have, this is what I would do. Amazon dominates 80% of the ebook market. So if you publish directly through KDP, you're tapping into Amazon's powerful marketing features, which as a self-publishing author, you could probably use. So unless you're already Beyonce and you don't need any marketing help because your book is just gonna sell, for self-publishing, I would go with KDP. Last but not least, website number 10, Semicolon. As an author who writes my first drafts by hand and teaches other writers to do the same, I am obsessed with these notebooks. Obsessed. They are so well made with thick paper and come in all kinds of bright, cheerful colors. The covers of them feel like linen, just slightly textured. They're hardback and they hold up really well, but they also fold back really easily so you aren't, unable to write on the insides of the pages because it won't open enough. It's not like that. You can choose whether you want lined or unlined paper and also select what size you use. I get the giant ones, size A4 with blank pages because I like to make a mess on the page. But like I said, you can choose whatever floats your boat. And that's it, my favorite sites. If you made it this far, I'm guessing that you're writing a book or that you want to write a book. And if so, I would love to hear from you. When I'm not writing, my mission in life is to help writers write their dream books. I love it, I live for it. Because before I published my novels, I first had to figure out how to write one. And this wasn't easy because none of the writing classes I was taking had showed me how to actually write a novel. It wasn't actually until I had a newborn baby and just a couple of hours every day to write that I came up with a real process. And the process worked. I wrote my entire novel during my 8-week maternity leave. So now I teach that process in my program, the Book Incubator, and it's worked for dozens of other writers. If you're curious to know more, I have a free video walking you through that process. And you can get it by just clicking below and answering 2 questions to apply to the program. You can get the video whether you join the program or not, no pressure to enroll. So just click below, tell me a little bit about you and your book or your book idea. You just fill out the form online. I'm so excited to hear from you.